Bitcoin, the largest driver of Bitcoin in the cycle. So if you think about that technology, that gives it this exponential uptrend. So if you put a logarithmic chart, it's actually pretty smooth. What are the cycles driven by? It's driven by liquidity. The biggest driver of Bitcoin is global liquidity, not just the Fed liquidity. So if you use the global bank balance sheets year on year, what you find is that's the thing. So China's already starting to print. The UK is starting to change. I think Europe will be pretty soon. So I think that all we need is a turn. The rate of change needs to turn and crypto turns, which is why, ETH bottomed in June. It's been looking forwards saying the cycle's turning. And I think it's right. So I think the cycle's turning and it takes a while to play out. So people would call this crypto spring. Spring is a time where, it rains a lot, it's cloudy a bit, sunny a bit, it's cold, it's warm. And that's exactly what the crypto market's like right now. It's just messy, but it's not really going down either. So it doesn't get colder every day. That's winter. So I think we're in crypto spring, and as liquidity changes, and I think that happens relatively soon because things are getting pretty ugly out there. The first part is the adoption of technology is relentless. It does not stop. It's not driven by the capital markets. The capital markets mean more entrepreneurs take a shot. Nobody gives a shit if the hurdle rate's 6%. Look at the hurdle rate in India. Look where Indian interest rates are. Where are they today? 7.5%. So 7.5% rates. And how many entrepreneurs have you got? The entrepreneurs in India are going exponential. So it's a nonsense narrative that raising interest rates means that nobody does technology. Go back to the 70s. There was plenty of technology companies like Xerox that took over that period of time. So I don't believe that. I think the adoption of technology is exponential. Again, if people want to understand what I'm talking about, look at India. Look at what happened after Aadhaar, India Stack, UPI, and then the Cambrian explosion that happened there. It's astonishing. Got 1.2 billion people into it in 2 years. This has never been done before. That's the speed of technological adoption. So let's go to crypto. Crypto right now is the fastest adoption of any technology the world has ever seen. It's twice the adoption speed of the internet. In number of holders per year is faster than users of the internet in terms of growth from the first 5 million users. That's where I took it from. So crypto's still growing. This year will be a much flatter year, but it was growing at an average at about 160% a year, and the internet was growing about 80% a year. It's twice the speed. So we have never seen a technological adoption as fast as this. And so does interest rates stop that? No. Change in interest rates is the thing that stops it. That liquidity, remember, it's year-on-year rate of change. If they just stopped interest rates, if the US stopped interest rates here, over a while, the rate of change goes flat. Assets can do fine in that because remember, it's technology adoption that actually drives the price over the longer run. So it's the rate of change that's causing it. If the rate of change goes to zero and it flattens out, i.e. interest rates stay sticky, then the chances are that we just get the trend rate of adoption of the technology over time, which still gives it 100% a year rise. What you don't want is interest rates to go from 3.5% to 10%, because that will not be a good investment then. It'll be a very bad investment. But if they stay up 3.5%, 4% for a long period of time, it's fine. The average age of an Indian is 28 years old. Every single one of you is going to be investing. So the industry is going to boom. Now, India is also a leader in fintech. So you probably don't want to work for ICICI Bank or somebody like that because it's boring. But entrepreneurship and fintech, crypto, okay, this is where India excels. And everybody is going to invest. That's the only thing you need to know. The answer to every career is go into a secular bull market. Whatever it is, be in that. Do not go in like the fossil fuels industry. That's a secular bear market. The price might go up, but it's going to shrink over time. go where the money's flowing. So when you've got a group of 28-year-olds of the size of the Indian population that all want to aspire to that vision of the future selves, to be wealthier than their parents and to have a house and do all of that stuff, they're all highly incentivized to invest. So that industry is a phenomenally good industry to get into over time. Asset management, fintech, all of that, crypto. The reason I started Real Vision India, apart from being half Indian, is that there are so many young people who need education. And the quality of the YouTube stuff is pretty crappy. That's
Thanks,
okay. Well, not yours, obviously. But
of course.
yours is amazing.
2 clicks from CNBC.
But, I mean, look at CNBC India. I mean, look at the TV channels. They're shockingly bad. So what we need to do is educate people, as you guys are doing, on what is the real opportunity here and how to navigate it and give them the tools. So that's the idea of Real Vision India, is over time we'll build a community and then we'll give the community the tools that they need so they can all learn how to become better investors. And if we can do that, we can change a lot of lives at scale. And that's really what Real Vision's all been about, democratizing the financial information. And Indians were kind of cut off from that. And we want to make sure that they get it. They get the same knowledge base. So Real Vision India, there's a number of things to know. Firstly, Indians get a discount. So they go to realvision.com, it'll find your IP address and give you Indian pricing. I don't know what it is, but it's very inexpensive, even in rupee terms. So it's particularly priced in rupees. But that's actually not what we're doing. What we don't want to do is just give you the content that's on Real Vision, because yes, it's useful to learn macro investing and what are the big factors influencing, but we want to create community and content for Indians as well. So what we're starting is a community from the ground up. So we've just started with our first Real Vision India meetup, getting people together. We're starting with a Discord channel, and we're starting to develop a show, which will be a YouTube show, which will be an East meets West between Nippon, who's based in Gurgaon, and then we have Anthony, who's based in Texas. It's kind of hilarious. But Indians are always kind of quite interested in Americans, particularly Texas.
Yeah, Gurgaon and Texas
basically
are
the same.
potato. Yeah,
exactly.
same.
And so I think it's going to work well. Exactly. It's going to work well, and it's going to be, and that will be the genesis of where we're going to go with this thing. So that will be free, because a lot of Indians don't want to pay for it. Once they really want the education, we've got stuff like the Real Vision Academy, which is like world-class trading education. But let's first give people the tools. Let's get them engaged like you guys are doing. Start educating people, and then we can give them even more tools to succeed. Accumulating lifestyle. Quality of life is the game. It's not money. That's why I lived in Spain and the Mediterranean coast. That's why I live in the Caribbean next to the sea. It's quality of life. It's not about money. So what you're trying to do is bank quality of life. And that's different for different people. You know, so it could be a cabin in the woods for somebody else, or it could be a private island for somebody else. It doesn't matter, but it's that quality of life that I do. Now, I also semi-retired. And what I learned was that without intellectual stimulation, I went awry. I discovered, living in a beach town in Spain is probably not the healthiest thing to do, because it's just a 24-hour day party. And I realized that intellectual stimulation was what I liked the most. And so that's when I made that decision, and I looked at a number of different opportunities that I wanted to do, and I chose Real Vision, which was a stupidly hard thing to do. And we're still there, but so that was all consuming and really hard. Global Macro Investor was what paid my bills. And that was the epicenter, the genesis of everything that I did, because that group of people were the seed investors to Real Vision. But then once I saw very clearly what was going on with crypto, I wanted to make the biggest bet of my life. That's with my time and energy into this one thing.